Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm doing a product review. Actually, it's more of a product comparison. And on these product reviews, I am always upfront and honest with you guys. You guys know I am a no BS channel. I always tell you the terms if a product was sent to the channel for review, if I'm getting paid, if I'm getting anything for free, so you guys can decide if my review or comparison is honest and true and unbiased. I have been sent two belts from Core Essentials. One is going to be a Core Essentials EDC belt, which, by the way, I own other Core Essentials belts and absolutely love them. I think they are the best EDC belt on the market. So I'm going to put that disclaimer out there. They also sent me another belt from one of their competitors. This one is from Groove Life. I'm unfamiliar with this company. They asked me to review and compare these two products because I guess Groove Life is a belt that is claiming that they are just as good, if not better, than the Core Essentials. Now, as I said, I wear Core Essential belts all the time, so I'm very familiar with their product, but they sent me a black EDC belt for free for this comparison and the Groove Life belt. So they obviously bought this one on their own and sent it out to other reviewers. So I'm going to unbox these, I'm going to get them set up, give you guys my initial impressions. Then I brought a few things out here on the table to use to see how well they work as EDC belts. So obviously I brought a few guns in different types of holsters, both inside the waistband and outside the waistband. I have a Beretta 92 Compacts here in a paddle holster. I also have my 1911 in an inside the waistband leather holster, as well as a belt loop holster for that same 1911. I brought a Glock field knife and one of the heaviest and biggest EDC flashlights that I normally carry. So I feel like if I use a combination of these things, I will get a good idea of how well these belts work in EDC situations, how much weight can they distribute around my, well, tactical dad bod. And we can see if these belts hold up to what I can put on them and how they compare, and if the Groove Life belt is as good or better than the Core Essentials. And who knows, maybe the Core Essentials will not do as good as I think it will. But we're gonna find out, and I'm gonna do my very best to give you guys an unbiased review. So let's get these belts unboxed and get them set up. Alright, so I'm going to start here with the Core Essentials belt first, mainly because it's the one I'm familiar with and I know how to set it up. So you open the box, you get your instruction manual, you get the belt itself, they give you a hanger. Oh, and look at that, it's a 3-belt hanger. I only have a 2-belt hanger. You get the hardware, you get some other accessories with it, and of course you get the buckle. Alright, so that's a nice looking buckle. Kind of a textured black finish. I really like the way that looks. Looks very industrial. All right, so since I've already used these before, I know exactly what to do. When it comes to these EDC belts that you can tailor to your own length, I always go a little bit longer than you normally would, because sometimes I'm going to carry inside the waistband, and of course I don't know how my body is going to change over time. So you can always cut, but you can't add. So I typically err on the side of too long. So I will tell you, I'm a 38 waist. Yeah, I probably need to lose a little bit of weight. But I will often cut these core belts to 44. I don't mind if they're a little bit too long. It just works for me. And as I said, especially if I lose weight, which is the plan, I can always cut these, take the hardware off, and readjust them. But 44 seems to be fine if I'm carrying something big and inside the waistband. If I have a lot of other gear on me, it works really well. And these trackline belts are awesome because they have these micro adjustments at very short intervals. So all you gotta do to get this thing set up, if you're unfamiliar, is you simply cut them with a box cutter at the length, and you have all of the markings right here. So all I need to do right now is go get a piece of wood, and I will cut this so I don't cut into my nice mat or my table. Alright, so I find the marking for 44, and that's where I'm going to cut. And by the way, they have sizes all the way up to, I believe, 54. So if you require that much, they give you a lot of options when it comes to cutting it to your size. And of course, you can go a lot shorter if you are a very slim person. It says here down to 28 inches. But I am, I guess, kind of in the middle here at 44. So that is where I'm going to cut this. And it cuts pretty easy with a box cutter. You can make a nice straight cut with it. And as I said, I like to do this with a little piece of wood underneath so I don't cut what is below. And that is it. So I actually save these ends of the belts. You never know when you might need some type of material, and that would fit the bill. So in order to install the hardware, all you gotta do is first take out these screws. So let me get the Allen wrench that they provide out here. And it is nice that they provide all of the hardware you'll need and some extra screws in case you have issues or want to change the buckle at a later time. So let's take these out here. Very easy to take out. All right, so then I do know that you take the end of the belt and you put it into the buckle all the way, and the first thing you're going to want to do is take this latch that has these little teeth on them, close it up and push it down, and it should lock into place. So I like to make sure it's in there straight and all the way in. It is, and you're good to go there. And once it is locked in, you can take these screws and simply tighten them back down. All right, and that is set. So the belt should work, and I'll just test it here. Make sure the track line portion works. And it does. And then to release, you have a lever on this side. And this buckle's a little bit tighter than my other ones, which I think I actually like more. So let me now get the Groove Life belt out, and I'll get that set up. And this is a belt that I'm unfamiliar with, so we'll see how it gets put together. All right, so the next belt I have here is from Groove Life. I kind of like their design on their packaging there, but I prefer the box. As you can see, I've already opened it. Let's see if there's anything else in there. There is not. Okay, so this is what the Groove Life belt is. I do know it uses a magnetic buckle. It says here, magnetic buckle, adjust once, perfect stretch, groove belt. On this side, it says, we've made it easy, just match your pant size. Small is 28 to 32, medium is 33 to 36, large 37 to 40, so I guess I'm large. And then extra large pant size is 41 to 50. And on the back here, it just says, we set out to design the perfect belt, easy snap buckle, perfect stretch, high durability, all backed by our no BS 94-year warranty. Man, if this thing wears out 95 years, I'd be mad. Check out the belt that raised over $1 million in crowdfunding. All right, so as I said, this is a company and a belt I have never heard of before. So let's see if I can get this out without damaging the packaging. All right, so there's that. And this is something I am unfamiliar with, so let's see how this works. Okay, so the buckle, oh yes, definitely magnetic. That is very interesting. I guess that would not come off when you're wearing it. Okay, not as sturdy as the Core Essentials, but that trackline belt is pretty cool. But who knows, this thing might be the bee's knees. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at it here. It looks like it has adjustments here on the side. Well, I guess this is just ready to go. You just got to adjust it. And see if there's anything else here on the packaging. It doesn't say I need anything else. So I guess that I'm ready to go on this. I thought I'd have to set something up and adjust it, but apparently not. All right, so let me put these on, and we're gonna try out the Groove Life belt first. All right, so before I actually put these on, I decided to turn the camera back on to talk about them side by side here on the table, because I got the Groove Life belt set up for me and my waist. And just handling these on the table so far, I can tell you that the Core Essentials belt is much more rigid, which is something I definitely look for in an EDC and especially a gun belt. You do not want to have any flex. I definitely think the magnetic buckle of the Groove Life is a really cool idea. There is some stretchiness to this material, which they had mentioned here on the box. So you do get a little bit of play, but it is definitely a lot more malleable, where the Core Essentials belt is going to be a little bit more solid. So I think right now my initial impressions are, if you're just going to carry light EDC equipment, a small gun, the Groove Life might actually be a pretty darn good option. I think it is an attractive belt, and the fact that you don't have to cut anything is kind of nice. So you can actually hold on to this or gift it to somebody else that might be a different size. I do like that. The Core Essentials, you're kind of stuck if you need to add length to it. If you cut it too short, you gain a little bit of weight, or you want to give it to somebody who might be a little bit more portly than you. You wouldn't have to worry about that with the Groove Life. But I really do like the durability of this Core Essentials belt. I think I'm going to like this one a little bit more, but we're going to give them both a fair shot. But I just wanted to kind of give that a little side-by-side comparison. As you can see here with the Groove Life belt, it's very easily bendable. It's not very sturdy in that way. Maybe from up and down it is, but of course, you know, all belts are going to sag over time. This one's probably going to have a lot of sag, especially because the material it's made out of has a little bit of stretchiness to it. The Core Essentials belt does not. As you can see, I'm pushing it together and it doesn't have that type of flexibility. So let's just take a look at that. All right, so does that mean this Groove Life belt isn't going to be good? Not necessarily, but let's put these on and let's strap on some guns and EDC gear. All right, so first and foremost, let me apologize that you guys got to take a profiled look here at the Texas Gun Vault Tactical Dad Bod. But here is the Groove Life belt. I'm going to give you a little shot around the Dad Bod here. Seems to fit fine. It definitely has some flex in it, but it's pretty tight. I like it. It seems to support up my pants. No problems there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm first going to start off with just basic EDC gear like my guns. So we'll start off, of course, with the paddle holster, and I'm going to start off on a Beretta 92 FS Compact that I just did a review of when it came to a paddle holster by Craft Holsters. So let me grab that real fast. And so here's the firearm. So let me put this paddle holster down here. All right, so there it is. That feels fine. It's holding good. I don't really feel any issues with the belt so far. As I said, it does fit pretty tightly around me and I can adjust it as needed. And with those micro adjustments of the stretchiness of the belt, I guess depending on the type of holster, if it's going to be inside the waistband, outside the waistband, it's going to adjust to your needs. Okay, so far this is not too bad. It's very comfortable. No problems there. Has some retention on the paddle holster. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is go to an inside the waistband holster on a Colt 1911 here. All right, so that goes on pretty good. Now, one of the complaints I have had about the Core Essentials belts, it's not really a complaint, it's that it's very thick. So you gotta make sure you have the right holsters with the right mounting hardware that can get around that big, thick belt. This is not a thick belt, so there's no issues with that. Now, I do feel how it does stretch. I wouldn't have any problems with this inside the waistband holster. With this belt, it feels pretty solid, no issues here. It's comfortable. Okay, so now I'm going to give it what I think is the real test. And for me, I've always had issues when it came to belt loop holsters. So the belt loop holsters many times put most of the weight on the belt itself and on the belt loop, and this is where I get most of the sag. So I'm going to see how this belt holds up when it comes to putting that 1911 in this belt loop holster. Alright, so this actually turned out a little bit better than I thought it would. Normally I don't like belt loop holsters because it makes all the belt sag. And this actually feels pretty comfortable. It's still pretty tight because it has that flexibility in there. I am kind of impressed with it. While it might not be the best belt, it is working for this setup. So I really can't say I'm going to complain about it. Is it super durable? Is it holding it up? Well, I would actually say yes. Do I feel it kind of sagging a little bit? Do I feel it transferring that weight a little bit more? Yeah, I do. But it does work, so not going to complain there. All right, so since this is the type of holster that normally I get the most sag with, I'm now going to move to the other side and add more EDC gear, more stuff than I normally would carry, but just to see how it handles all of the weight. Alright, so I got some more gear on here and I kind of went a little bit more overboard than I normally would. I got my largest EDC flashlight, which is a Nightcore right here, and I'm also putting on a Glock field knife. So that's a pretty big knife, way more than I would normally carry, and I have them both attached here to the Groove Life belt. And I'm still running the belt loop holster with the 1911 on the other side. And it's pretty comfortable. It's holding it up. For me, this kind of feels a little bit goofy because I normally don't go outside with this much gear on, but it is working. I think that it might be sagging just a little bit, but it is holding up. I can definitely feel the stretchiness. And one thing that is surprising me is that when it comes to the buckle, I kind of thought this would come off really easy, and it doesn't. You really have to intend it to come off, but it's not too bad. So it does not come off under basic use. I actually thought that it would. So this thing does work. It does sag a little bit, and it is a little bit more flexible than I may like, but it is holding up the gear. So I'm going to give it some points on that. I know that I was asked to review these, and I know that Core Essentials says that this is their competitor and have been advertising that they are just as good as Core. But so far, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with it. There's no sag on this side. And on this side, I am getting just a little bit more than I would like, but it is working and it does feel comfortable and it is distributing the weight of these items pretty well. All right, so let me take this off and I'm gonna compare it to the Core. I'll put the Core on next. All right, so here is the Core Essentials belt, and this is the belt that I kind of feel more at home with because it's what I wear most of the time. It is just very rigid, which I do like, and as you can see, because I do have the kind of nice curves here with the dad bod, having a nice firm belt really helps with my EDC gear. This black one is very attractive. I never really thought about getting the black tactical belt, but it looks really nice. It fits good. All right, so let's put on some holsters and see how this belt does. So I'll start again with the Beretta 92 Compact in the paddle holster. Now this is what I was talking about in the previous part of the video. I think that this is actually a good thing, but when you have to put on the paddle holster, it can be a bad thing, and that is the Core Essentials belts are very thick, and I like that a lot. And it takes a little bit more finagling to get these holsters on. So, but once they're on there solid. Okay, so here is the Core Essentials belt with the Beretta Compact, and I will say, just comparatively, this belt is holding this gun up a little bit better. I can feel that the weight is distributed around my belly a little bit more, but it works. It's being held up like it should. It's pretty good, okay? A little bit harder to get on, but that's just because these Core Essential belts are so thick. Okay, so no problems there. I don't really feel much weight in one spot. It's being distributed evenly. Works fine for me. All right, so let's get this thing off. And now let's do the inside the waistband with the Colt 1911. And once again, that's a pretty thick belt, so it's kind of pulling me a little bit tight there, so I can make the adjustment here in the front and pull that out just a little bit, and that feels good. All right, so here we go. And as you can see here, there's no sag, which is why I like those Core Essential belts. It's really thick, extremely durable. It's not bending at all. So that works just fine, as I would expect. Okay, and I feel like the weight is being distributed pretty evenly. Everything's comfortable. All right, so now I'm going to put on the belt loop holster and see how much sag I get there. All right, so here's the belt loop holster on my Core Essentials belt, and as I suspected, because of its durability and thickness, I get absolutely zero sag with this, and it distributes the weight very, very nice. So everything's on there, it's nice and solid, it's not moving. I really like that. And this is one of the reasons why I've always gone to the Core Essential belts, because I've felt in the past when I've had leather gun belts, they couldn't handle this type of weight and not sag as well as the Core Essentials. All right, so now let me put on the other EDC gear and see how it holds up. All right, so here is the Core Essentials belt with the Glock field knife and the Nightcore flashlight that I have. As I said, it's kind of the biggest EDC gear that I have, and I put it on this side. And once again, here is the belt loop holster with the 1911 on the other side, and it is holding them both up great. Now, this is something I'm going to say about the Core Essentials belts that I like more than the Groove Life belt, is that due to the thickness of the belt, when it comes to these items on this side, they don't have as much play. I like the fact that the belt is thicker and it goes through the loops on the holsters or the scabbard or whatever these items are here a little bit better. It holds them on, and I feel like those are going to be a little bit more rock solid than it would be on the Groove Life. However, it's holding them up just as well as the Groove Life, if not better, especially because it doesn't have any sag on this side. So, do they both work? Yes, they do. And I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed with the Groove Life. It does more than I thought it would, but I think the Core Essentials is still gonna be my go-to belt. But let me adjust the camera here and I'll give you guys my final thoughts. All right, so it's been a few minutes here and I've been outside thinking about how I'm gonna rate these, because I gotta say the Groove Life belt impressed me more than I thought it would. I know the Core Essentials belt and how awesome it is. And you guys know I like to rank everything on this little star system that I have. And I always tell you guys the terms of the deal, and as I said, Core Essentials is my personal EDC belt. It's what I know, it's what I like, and they provided both of these belts for free for review. So you guys can decide if that makes me bias one way or the other. As I said, I am a no BS channel. I tell you guys everything up front. So there's my history with both of these items and both of these companies. So I also try to make the channel from an average gun person standpoint. So I'm not an EDC expert. I'm not one of those tacticians that goes out and rolls in the dirt and carries the plate carriers and all that kind of stuff. So I've decided that I'm going to rate these belts using two different methods. And the first method is going to be from my perspective as an average gun owner, meaning somebody that's probably not going to be wearing a ton of EDC gear and is just going to be going out maybe with one gun and maybe a flashlight. And I have to say that on my rating scale, I'm going to give the Groove Life belt 4 out of 5 stars. It actually worked better than I was expecting. I thought that it's too flexible at first. I didn't think it would work. I thought it would sag, but it has this material that kind of stretches, and as long as it retains that stretchiness, it's probably going to work pretty good for an average gun person. However, when it comes to the Core Essentials belt and how thick and durable it is, it's really more belt than the average gun person is going to need, which is awesome. It is so durable. And they have so many options on their website between colors, materials, and buckles. You can really make a very stylish or tactical belt to your heart's desire. And because it's so durable and it's really more than the average gun person is going to need, for the average gun guy, I give this thing 5 out of 5 stars. So the Groove Life belt, I still think did a pretty admirable job, 4 stars out of 5, but the Core Essentials gets 5 out of 5. Now, the other part of the scale that I wanted to talk about was probably the person that's going to wear more gear than the average guy. The guy that's probably going to be wearing the flashlight and the knives and a gun, maybe a backup gun, some extra mag pouches, who knows. I have to say, if that's the kind of person you are and you're going to be carrying a lot of gear, well, how would these rank? I would say the Groove Life belt would probably only get about 2.5 to 3 stars out of 5. It works better than I thought. But if you're gonna be having a ton of gear, I think the fact that it is so thin, you're gonna have a harder time retaining all the items you're gonna put on it. They're gonna move around a little bit. I think the belt would hold them up, but it's not gonna be as durable as the Core Essentials, but it would work. And it doesn't do as bad as I thought. So I'd say maybe 3 out of 5 stars on the Groove Life. Now, when it comes to the Core Essentials belt, because as I said, it is overbuilt in my personal opinion, and it is such a thick belt and has so many different options, I am sure those people that are the true tacticians, the guy that goes out and rolls in the dirt and wears the plate carriers, the guys that I always talk about, you know, with like the tactical beards, they'd probably find a flaw in the Core Essentials. So I'm not gonna give it 5 out of 5. I'll give it 4.5 or 4.75 stars out of 5 for that particular use. It's just an absolutely fantastic belt. Now, if I could only have one of these belts, well, I can tell you it'd be the Core Essentials hands down. But I actually do think there's situations where I'm going to be just carrying a gun and I'm looking for something very casual. I might use the Groove Life. So it does have a place, maybe in my EDC rotation. So I'm not going to throw this thing out. I'm not going to say it's a piece of junk, because it's actually not a piece of junk. It does work. It's kind of cool. I like the styling of it. I like the idea of it. But as a gun guy, I think I like the Core Essentials a little bit better. And if you were only going to get one, I recommend the Core Essentials over the Groove Life. But you guys know your own personal carry situation, what you like, and the kind of style that you like to carry in. So maybe this might be the one for you, and I think if you get the Groove Life, it will work. Might not be the best in all situations, especially if you like to carry more stuff, but it might serve your needs. The Core Essentials, I know 100% definitely would. So there you go. That is my honest opinions on the Core Essentials versus the Groove Life belt. Both of them I'm extremely happy with. The Groove Life impressed me more than I thought it would after initially handling it. But the Core Essentials is the winner. And as I said, they gave me, or Core Essentials did, these belts to try out. So was I biased? Who knows? Do you guys own both of these belts or one of these belts? What do you think? These are my opinions. So if you disagree, I understand. I'm just an average gun guy trying this stuff out in his hot garage here in the middle of summer in Texas. So let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.